I live in Chatsworth, Georgia, just a few miles from Grassy and Fort Mountain. But I was born and raised in Dalton, Georgia, in the small Dalton community, which is about 2 miles from Chatsworth. About a mile and a half from where I grew up was Old Mitchell Bridge Road. A few yards down this road, on the right side in the woods, on a hill was a small cemetery known as Mitchell Cemetery. The small drive up to the cemetery was all grew up whenever I was young, and I only saw it mowed and cleaned up once where I was able to walk up to it. Right on down from the cemetery was the Old Mitchell Bridge that crossed the river. And when you crossed the bridge, the road went to dirt, and that side was Chatsworth, Georgia. Now, this story ain't long at all, but as a youngin', it terrified me. In the Old Mitchell Cemetery that I mentioned before, there's only one man buried there. His name is David Wright Mitchell. He was born in 1835 and died in 1906 at 71, and many folks say that he had loads of money. They say he buried his money somewhere around the river, and many folks say that his death is due to decapitation. But to me, that was always hard to believe, so I just believe he died of old age. But many folks say that on rainy, stormy nights, when you cross the bridge over into Chatsworth and started around the curve to the left into the straightaway and looked behind you, you would see a Headless Horseman chasing you, and folks say that that's David Wright Mitchell. And folks said that he wanted to tell you where his money was buried, and others said that he wanted your head since he lost his. And growing up, I did go through there on many rainy, stormy nights, but me, I never looked back. When I was around the age of 11 or 12, me and my cousin were riding our bikes down there because there was trails all through the woods, but I'm sure they're all grew up now. But right before we got to the bridge, we stopped due to a sound in the distance. And listening closer, we realized there was a horse coming right at us. Now, I was scared to death and I couldn't breathe and I was just freaking out, but moments later, a man rode out into the road on a big black horse, and right when he seen us, he just bursted out laughing. He said, "You thought I was the Headless Horseman, didn't you?" And we both agreed to him, and he just said to us, "Well, just don't be down here on rainy, stormy nights, but you're safe any other time." I'll never forget that day, but it always felt like somebody was watching you whenever you was down there. And it still feels like that today. One time there was an old empty casket found down there up in the woods, and nobody knew where it came from or who it belonged to, and it's still unknown to this day. My uncle once told me that on a rainy, stormy night, whenever he was coming home, he decided to go through there just to save some time. Whenever he crossed the bridge and went around the curve to the left into the straightaway, he seen something coming up behind him. He seen glowing red, so he decided to slow down and rode on his window, thinking it could have been a cop. And he swore till the day he died he heard a horse running all the way up until the road went back to pavement, which is about 2 miles once you cross the bridge. I asked him a few things about it every now and then, and he just always said the same thing, but you could tell by the look on his face that he definitely saw something that night. Something that we cannot explain.